On today's episode, I'm checking out dynamic groups in Entra ID. There's a few changes coming up you definitely need to be aware of. Check it out.
Learn with Andy Malone.
Just before we get started, I want to invite you to this year's Nuremberg Tech Days, which is taking place between the 20th and the 22nd of October this year. Join me for 3 deep dive days on identity, security, and compliance. For more details, visit the site or click the links below. Well, as Obi-Wan once said, well, hello there. Welcome to the channel, Andy Malone, Microsoft MVP. On today's episode, I'm checking out dynamic groups. Now, I did a video a few years ago on dynamic groups, but things are moving on a little bit. And Microsoft have just announced some changes which are going to impact many users and customers from November this year. So I thought, I'm going to jump in. I'm just going to explain what those changes are and, more importantly, what you can do to avoid nasty things happening. Now, just a quick mention that if you haven't subscribed, we'd love you to come on board. So bump that button up there, ring that bell, and come and join my learning community. And if you'd like more, why not consider signing up to my Patreon channel? Here you'll get access to monthly Zoom calls, full Microsoft courses, and much more. Details down below. So I think without any further jibber jabber, let's jump in and let's see what all the fuss is about with dynamic groups. Okay, so just before we kick off with the what's new, I suppose we'd better just put it in context and give a quick demo of what dynamic groups are. So to create a group, then what I'm going to do is I'm coming into groups in Entra ID. I'm clicking into all groups and I'm just going to go ahead and create a new group. Now, 2 types of group that we can create here. You can either create a Microsoft 365 group, which is a fully collaborative group, or you can create a security group. Security groups are perfect just for assigning permissions, and these can be assigned to either users or devices. I can give the group a name, so I'm just going to call this Oslo IT Support. And it says, do you want to assign an admin role to this group? Again, you could do that. Again, for the purpose of this demo, I won't bother. This is what we're interested in here, though, membership type. So with an assigned member, you can then go into members and actually select the members that you want to be a member of this group. Alternatively, you can choose what we call a dynamic user. And the dynamic user is based on rules that you specify, and it's dynamic. So imagine all the students belonging to this group from year 1. So any students with the attribute year 1 would become a member of this group. Anything else would go into a different group and so on. It's always good practice to put in a owner. So again, for the purpose of this, I'm just going to go ahead and put myself in here. So now if many of you remember the likes of Active Directory and the concept of nested groups. So a nested group, for example, you could have marketing managers and sales managers were members of the managers group, that kind of idea. Now, although it worked quite well in Active Directory, it never scaled quite in the same way for Entra ID or Azure Active Directory as it was known then. So I think that this is probably one of the reasons why Microsoft are looking at retiring it. So typically it's actually been in public preview for a number of years. Now you actually couldn't put it into the UI. There was never a UI for it. So you can see here that nowhere you'll see memberOf. It just simply doesn't exist. And the only way that you could do it was actually via PowerShell. Okay, and they give you some examples here. So you can see here if the user is a member of, and you would use the group object ID. So for that, you would have to come into Entra ID. You would have to go to the group and copy the group ID into the PowerShell command. And it was problematic. It really was problematic. So what Microsoft are doing from November onwards is they're retiring this feature. and they're basically creating simpler rules. And the idea is, rather than having, this is a good example, then, I want to be in, this city, this city, this city, or this city. That's a very, very complex rule. Whereas you could just use this and use, for example, a comma separated example. Yes. So you can see like this. So the user city is this. So comma separated, much, much simpler and much less time consuming than this feature. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why they're retiring this. So the problem is, though, if you've got dynamic rules that stipulate a member of, and the member of rule actually applies to not only groups, but also things like admin units, application policies, and lots of other things. So, and the problem is, it's because we've been using it for so long, it's become embedded in our systems. So anyway, I'll come back to that in a second. So what I want to do is I'm going to first of all choose a property. And for our admins here, I'm going to say if the city equals Oslo. Now, please note that you've got other operators here as well. So if the city equals Oslo, that's fairly simple. And I'm going to add another one. I'm going to say or, and let's say this time I'll choose department. So department, again, I'm going to say equals, and I'll say IT support. So we can see here now, if the user is in Oslo and they're in the Department of IT Support, then they are going to be a member of this dynamic group. So I now click on Save. I'm going to go ahead and create this group. So how does the user become a member of this group? Well, you guessed it. If I go into the users, and let's say, for example, I've got a user here called Alan. I'm going to go into Alan. I'm going to edit his properties. And here in his properties, of course, we've got his identity here. I've got some job information. So at the moment, he's in IT, but I need him to be in IT support. Okay. And I will then go to contact information. And at the moment, he's not in Oslo. So I'm going to make him in Oslo. I can take that out. I can take that out. And I can put him in Norway. So he's in Oslo, in Norway. And now as soon as I save that, that's the dynamic rule kicking in. He's now a member of the IT admins in Oslo. You get the idea. So that is such a powerful feature. Now, of course, if you use Intune, what we can then do is if you've got Intune devices, I can go into groups. Again, I can create new groups and I can say, okay, I want to call these my Oslo devices. And instead of putting users in there, I would then say, hey, I want to put, let's say, a dynamic device in. So I will say, okay, let me put an owner in to start with. I can put in my mod administrator. And again, I can add a dynamic query. Now, dynamic queries are so important, not just for organizing your users and your devices, but they also play a big part in tools like conditional access as well. So I'm going to choose, let's say, device manufacturer, or you could have device category. Okay, device OS version. You get the idea? So I'm going to say device manufacturer. I'm going to say equals Dell. And I'm going to add an expression. And let's say the device category, I'll say equals laptop. Okay, if you've got laptops. And you can even do this to a specific device ID if you want to, the model number. So I can say, hey, I want it to, let's say, ends with, or begins with, or starts with, let's say, XPS. Get the idea? So you can make this really, really granular. It's such a powerful feature. And it's great for security, especially the likes of, as I said, conditional access, because only these devices can join with only this ID number and so on. So again, that, my friends, is a dynamic rule, but with a device. So one super useful feature, just before I leave you, is this one. This is the expiry feature. If you've never used this, this will save you so much hassle. As users, of course, anybody can create, for example, a Microsoft 365 group. And you get this scenario where it starts to snowball. You've got so many of these. And of course, you've got all of these groups or teams. They could be teams, of course, and nobody's using them. So a really good idea is you can set an expiry date on that group. So for example, 6 months, for example, I can put in the contact details for my admin, and I can say, okay, enable expiry dates for these particular groups. So by default, it's none. You could do all, but maybe a little bit tricky, but you can select specific groups. So for example, I might say, sales. I might say my US sales here. So what's going to happen in 6 months? It's going to check to see if this US sales group is still being used. And if it is, it will just reassign it for another 6 months. But if it's not being used and it's not been used for a number of weeks or months, then it will delete it. It will place that into the recycle bin. Now, of course, the recycle bin, 3 months, you could bring that back if you really wanted to. But it's such a powerful feature, I definitely recommend it. So check out the group's expiry. Really useful feature. And finally, just that quick reminder that if you're one of those organizations that's using that dynamic memberOf rule, then you definitely need to go in and check this article out and also have a look at the alternatives as well. Very important. So there you have it. The memberOf feature, which is being retired in dynamic groups come November. So best be up on that one, I would say. Hey, listen, I really hope you enjoyed this session. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. It really does make a difference to the channel. And if you've got questions or comments, as always, get those down below. That's it for this time. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you soon.